This is Inverclyde. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is North Queensferry. This is North Queensferry. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Dalmeny. This is Dalmeny. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Edinburgh Gateway. We are now approaching Edinburgh Gateway. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Edinburgh Gateway. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is South Gyle. This is South Gyle. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Haymarket. This train is for Glasgow. The next station is Falkirk High. This is Falkirk High. This train is for Glasgow Queen Street High Level. The next station is Croy. This train is for Glasgow Queen Street High Level. The next station is Croy. This is Croy. This train is for Glasgow Queen Street High Level. The next station is Glasgow Queen Street High Level. This train is for Glasgow Queen Street High Level. The next station is Glasgow Queen Street High Level, where this train terminates. This is Cardonald. This train is for Greenock. The next stop is Hillington East. We are now approaching Hillington East. This is Hillington East. This train is for Greenock. The next stop is Hillington West. This is Hillington West. This train is for Greenock. The next stop is Paisley Gilmour Street. We are now approaching Paisley Gilmour Street. Change here for stations to Ayr, Ardrossan and Largs, and the bus link to Glasgow Airport. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. We are now approaching Greenock Central. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. We are now approaching Greenock West. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. We are now approaching High Street. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is High Street. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Belgrove. We are now approaching Belgrove. Change here for stations to Springburn. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Belgrove. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Carntine. We are now approaching Carntine. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Carntine. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Shettleston. We are now approaching Shettleston. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Shettleston. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Coatbridge Sunnyside. We are now approaching Coatbridge Sunnyside. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Coatbridge Sunnyside. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Airdrie. We are now approaching Airdrie. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Airdrie. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Drumgelloch. We are now approaching Drumgelloch. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Drumgelloch. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Caldercruix. We are now approaching Caldercruix. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Caldercruix. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Blackridge. We are now approaching Blackridge. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Blackridge. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Armadale. We are now approaching Armadale. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Armadale. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Bathgate. We are now approaching Bathgate. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Bathgate. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Livingstone North. We are now approaching Livingstone North. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Livingstone North. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Uphall. We are now approaching Uphall. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Uphall. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Edinburgh Park. We are now approaching Edinburgh Park. Change here for the tram link to Edinburgh Airport. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train. This is Edinburgh Park. This train is for Edinburgh Waverley. The next stop is Haymarket. We are now approaching Haymarket. Change here for the bus and tram links to Edinburgh Airport. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train.
This is a customer information announcement. ScotRail operates a no smoking policy in all areas of ScotRail stations. This includes the use of e-cigarettes and vaporisers. If you wish to smoke, please leave the station. Thank you.
The next train at platform 1 will be the 1700 hours service to Glasgow Central, calling at Greenock Central, Carstdyke, Boxton, Port Glasgow, Bishopton, Paisley Gilmour Street and Glasgow Central. The train arriving at platform 1 is the 1700 hours service to Glasgow Central.